All right. So, first question I got was Deal Sniper, how to use Deal Sniper properly. So, I'm going to show you guys exactly what you have to do step by step. Okay. You go to Redfin, Zillow, Trulia, realtor.com, whatever you want to use. Doesn't matter. I like Redfin. I like Redfin because it's easier to comp for me, and it's also got some filters that are beneficial. So primarily, you want to pick whatever market you're going to be in, right? So I picked, what is this? Where am I? Indianapolis. And right now, just in this little area, there's 225 homes listed. You can use all those, but you want to put some filters in first. And there's really only one you have to worry about. Well, you can take off coming soon, but that's not necessary. But see where it says time on Redfin? More than 90 days. What does that drop it down? 98 homes. Here are 98 leads that have been on market for more than 90 days. Now, here's the next thing. Normally, I would just say, go for it. Just start copying addresses and stuff. But here's a couple of tips. So look at the photos. This house is staged. Actually, I'm going to click on it, make it bigger. Oh, perfect. It's vacant. So staged, vacant, same thing. Staged means they paid someone to put furniture in the property to give a buyer an idea of how the house would be set up. If you guys notice, this looks a lot more cozy and welcoming than, go to it, this. This is what the house actually looks like. So it looks like they did this. Is this computer generated? This looks like CG. This is CG because they did not bring in that carpet. Yeah, that's fantastic. Good for them. So this house is vacant, and a vacant house is an ideal target because chances are, and those of you who have been sending out offers, you know this, if the person is living in the house, then chances are they need the money from selling the house in order to buy another house. So a lot of times, even if they wanted to take your creative financing offer, they can't because they need the money to move. But in this situation, the house is vacant. Now, here's another good thing on why you should always go through all the photos. Go back to that. I just noticed it myself. Now look at this picture. Nice cabinets, nice floors, got the little end table thing right here. It's all nice and pretty. But look at that stove and look at that dishwasher. Now let's look at the actual kitchen without the CG. They're gone. So this house doesn't come with kitchen appliances. That's something you should be aware of. Let's see, all carpet throughout. All this is brand new. This house is completely flipped, minus the, it's missing some stuff in the kitchen. Well, actually, that's not true. This tub is original. That toilet's original. The sink and vanity, all this is original. So they didn't touch the bathroom. They cleaned it. It's clean, but it's not new. And by new, here's what I mean. There's a difference between a flipped house and a nice house. Now, this is more of a cash deal kind of thing, but I know a lot of you guys are doing multiple types of deals. A flipped house has a toilet that no one's ass has ever sat on. A nice house could have a new toilet, but it was new, like 8 months ago. So there's been a bunch of asses on that toilet. That's not flipped. Doesn't mean it's not nice, but there's a difference between new and just nice, or flipped and just nice. So now that I know that this house is vacant, and I went a little bit deeper, you guys won't have to do this. After you notice that the house is vacant, you can literally just click out. I'm going to copy the address. I'm going to go put it into Deal Sniper. I'm going to hit search. So I can get rid of that one. Boom, brings up the house. They're listing it for $178,000 and it's been on market for 89 days. So we go down here. Does the property have a mortgage? You don't know if it has a mortgage. So we always assume no. If it has a mortgage and they're interested in a creative offer, the real estate agent will tell you. They will absolutely tell you. It'll be something along the lines of, well, this deal looks good, but unfortunately they have a mortgage, so I don't know if it'll work. Your response to that should be, oh, that's no problem. If you can give me the approximate mortgage balance, interest rate, and principal and interest monthly payment, I can rewrite the offer to cover that mortgage. And then you're just going to write a subject to or hybrid, which I'll show you guys later. So let's go back up here. They're selling it for 178. We added some money on top of it. Now, I've been seeing a lot of screenshots from people who are newer to the community not cleaning up their numbers. If you're not cleaning up your numbers, there is a very high chance that the realtor is going to look at it. It's going to look like it's computer generated, and they're going to think it's a scam, and they're just going to ignore it. So you have to clean up your numbers. What do I mean by that? Common sense. $197,890. No, we'll just do. Well, here we'll just keep it. I don't like doing it. I would have done 195, but there, 197. And then you do the exact same thing with the down payment. $13,852.30. No, just 13,000. Monthly payment $618.86. No, 600. And here's why. Deal Sniper is an amazing tool. It will scrub information from non-disclosure states. It'll always give you an equitable deal that can be sold to an investor. Always. Even if you never double check the numbers, it'll do it. But on this portion of Deal Sniper, it's just a calculator. Behind the scenes, it's doing calculations based on this number. So the numbers that it produces for you are going to be exact because that's what a calculator does. But that's not how people do things. People round things. So if you want your offer to look legit, round off your numbers, clean them up. Okay? So once you have your numbers clean, everything's generated, looks good, you go back to the listing. Oops. You go back to the listing and you go down here and you're going to look for, oh my God, they already have his email address. Here's his email address right here. So you're going to copy that. You're going to open up your email. You're going to put, now here's something that someone brought to my attention earlier before I forget. Someone asked me, hey, do I need to change my email address? And it never dawned on me to mention that to you guys. But if your email address is something vulgar or silly or offensive, yeah, you should probably change your email address to just your first and last name at gmail.com. If your email address is good, like if it's just basic, like mine is my first and last name at gmail.com, or if it's just something like that that's just not offensive, no way it can offend anyone, then you don't have to change your email address. It's not that serious. But you're going to open up your email. You're going to put this as the email address. You have his name listed by Robert Gard. So when you go to Deal Sniper, you're going to put his name here. You're going to put your name here and your phone number. If you're comfortable getting on the phone with a realtor right away. If you're not, just delete this part and just put your name. If they want to respond to you, they'll respond to you via email. And then you hit send. Now, if I did not talk through this whole thing and just did it, that would have taken me 2 minutes. And you have to send out 20 a day. Does anyone have any questions on the Deal Sniper part?
I have a question, Sean.
What's up, dude?
So my question is, like, when we look at it, like the long-term rental, like the purchase price isn't the same. So that's what me and Teddy were kind of confused about. We were trying to figure that part out.
Where? Over here?
Yeah.
What are
Like
you
you
talking about?
see how it says like ARV and then purchase price? It's not the same as the creative financial offer of the
Yeah,
actual purchase price.
it's pulling it off of this,
Okay,
off their
so
asking price. So you would have to, because the idea is you're going to change this number anyway to clean it up. So then you need to put the 197 here and here. Well, not under ARV, but you should make the match just for ease.
okay.
So in this case, this is all I would do. Because you're supposed to be cleaning up your numbers. And here's why. Here's why we don't make, and then boom, there you go. Now, sticking on this part, you guys can use this portion of it, but this is going to give you the worst case scenario. Is putting interest rates in here. This is if the investor is going to go take out a loan, which is possible. They can absolutely do that, but this isn't necessarily geared for that. And I'll show you in the deal machine section. So you guys can use this, but this is giving you information on if the investor is going to go get a loan, but they're not going to get a loan because it's a seller financing deal. So they don't have to come to the closing table with $197,000. They only have to come to the closing table with, hold on, what was the entry fee? They only have to come to the closing table with $23,000. So no one is really going to go take a loan out like this at 80% for $23,000. Most investors who are going to buy these types of properties just have that cash. That's why I always recommend use the deal machine calculator because you can manipulate these numbers from the get-go instead of being confused by all this unnecessary stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions on Deal Sniper? Anything that I went over before I move over to Deal Machine?
I kind of do.
What's up?
Um, so where it says like cash flow, I've tried putting a couple of properties already, and it just shows that it comes up as like a negative cash flow.
Where? On this portion?
Yeah, like on the bottom where it says it's positive for $80 for that specific property. Um, there was some that I was doing, and it was coming up as negative, like it was red, and I don't know if it
So
was,
that could be one of two things. One, your property isn't in a predominantly Section 8, type of market, so it doesn't have a lot of information to go off of. And two, because we have this very high, because again, this is worst case scenario. So I typically run these at 10%, and you'll see on the deal machine, I run these at 10%. It's running them at 15 to 13% over here. So if it doesn't have that much information to go off of, and then on top of that, it's taking worst case scenario, then yeah, it's not going to have a very good cash flow. That's why I always recommend people ask me, hey, Sean, when do I use this calculator? Do I use it to underwrite every deal? No, because our formula says you're going to send out 100 offers a week. 5 of them are going to have positive responses. And of those 5, you'll close 2 or 3 a week. Do you really want to put 100 deals or 95 deals into this every single week? No. So you only put the deals in that respond positively. So that's one. And two, I would always recommend just using this because you can manipulate everything to what it's supposed to be rather than what it thinks the investor is going to do, which is what Deal Sniper is doing here. It thinks that the investor is going to be putting down 20% at a 6% interest rate amortized for 30 years. So it's giving this number. But I guarantee you that if I put this exact same deal, which I'm about to, into Deal Sniper or Deal Machine, it's going to come up with a different number because I'm going to put in what the deal actually is, not what this thinks that the investor is going to do. And it's the same thing with the Section 8.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So so if it's red, and it's not a good deal to send an offer on, right?
If it's wait, you're talking about the cash
Yeah,
flow?
the cash flow part again.
It depends. If it works as a long-term rental, then it's just like gravy on top if it also works as a as a Section 8.
Okay.
So not necessarily. If it works, and you can double check, and like I said, let me just show you guys what I'm talking about. I'm going to put it in here, and then we're going to circle back to that question because this will hopefully help it make sense. So if you ever want to check the Deal Sniper numbers against the calculator, all you have to do is data entry. So you're going to go back to Deal Sniper and you're going to look in 197,000, 184, 13,000. Got it. Okay. So 197,000, 184,000, and then 13,000. We always want to make at least 10,000, so we're going to leave that there. What are we doing for rent? Monthly, no, that's the payment. Rent's $14.50. Oops. Okay, so we've got that filled in. Now all we're going to do is click on the seller finance. Whatever deal you put in here, you just click on the corresponding tab down here. Seller finance. Now you need to put in the monthly payment that we said we were going to give them, which if I remember correctly was 600. And then we need to put in the taxes and the insurance, which it tells you, 1962, 756. Okay. So this deal has a 21.119% cash on cash return. That's phenomenal. Because if you look over here, this will always break it down for you. Our minimum in order to have a deal that's movable is 10%. So anything above 10% is fantastic. The idea is anywhere from 10 to 12%, buyers are like, yeah, that's a good deal. I'll probably take it. 12 to 15%, there's going to be a couple buyers. You might have a bidding war. Anything above 15%, they're going to be fighting to get that deal because it's a good deal. The cash on cash return is high. So if I take a look at, I don't know if Deal Sniper says what my cash on cash return would be. Did you guys actually break that down? I don't see it. Yeah, it doesn't even break it down. That's nuts. But check this out. So according to this, the cash flow is $80.71 under Section 8, right? Which is supposed to be the best. Cash flow on this, $5,752. So the idea is if it works as just a normal, plain, long-term rental, it'll absolutely work as a Section 8 if it's a Section 8 market, if you're in a Section 8 neighborhood. And the thing with Section 8, for those of you that don't know, and this is not all the time, it's just a generalization. But if the property or the market that you're in is very heavy into Section 8, it's also probably a rougher neighborhood. So the reason why those are valuable is because Section 8 will pay the owner or the landlord, the investor, whatever terminology you want to use, will pay that monthly rent directly to the seller, or I'm sorry, directly to the owner. So you don't have to worry about the tenant not being able to pay rent. And in a lot of times, Section 8 will cover a certain amount, and then the owner will also add, another $200-300 on top of that. So the tenant is responsible for the $200-300, and the city or HUD will pay the remaining to the actual owner of the property. That's why Section 8s are valuable, because you really don't have to worry about a whole lot of people not paying their rent because the city's covering it. So did that kind of answer your question now that we broke this deal down, the difference between what Deal Sniper is showing you and what the deal actually is once you put the numbers in?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Does anyone have any questions about what I just did on the calculator?
Yeah, I have a question.
What's that?
So I'm looking, I just put it into my calculator. I mean, into my Deal Sniper too, so I can literally be looking at the same thing that you're looking at. So
Okay.
when we go to LTR, you know how it says cash on cash return is 3.74%. I know you said that you wanted it to be minimum 10. So when we're looking at Deal Sniper,
Okay.
as long as it's positive, that's when we should double check with Deal Machine to see if it's a deal.
No. Well, yes and no. Here's why. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I love Deal Sniper as a tool for what it does. I don't love this part. I don't love this part at all, because I just put this exact deal into the calculator and look at the cash on cash return. Same thing, $600 monthly payment, 197 purchase price, $13,000 down. I even added $10,000 to the assignment. And if you look, Deal Sniper gave me an estimate of 6,700, but Deal Sniper says that my cash on cash return is 3.8%, and it's not. It's 21.19%. So while I love Deal Sniper for what it does on this part, scrubbing the information, the non-disclosure states, how it gives it up anyway, I love that. I don't love this part, and I haven't taken enough time to dive into it with the developers to see if they've got maybe something not calculated properly on the back end, and that's why it's coming up to this. I don't know. But I do know that the Deal Machine calculator is very accurate. This is the calculator I use to underwrite every single deal my team does, every deal we've ever moved for the last 2 years. So I know this is on point. Deal Sniper obviously has a little bit of an issue because the exact same deal, it's saying it's a 3-point cash on cash return. So it is taking other things into consideration that the Deal Machine is not, but not anything that we would have to worry about as wholesalers selling the deal to an investor. The investor is going to run their own numbers. They're going to do their own thing. Even if an investor's war chest, which is what this is here, even if the investor's war chest is a little bit higher, we're not going to be exact every time because every investor is going to run their numbers their way. Our job is to get it as close as possible, or at least the median of every which way that these investors are going to run their numbers. It's the exact same thing with comping. Myself and 10 other investors can look at the exact same property, and chances are you're going to get 6 different ARVs if we go to run comps because we all run them differently. So long story short, if you want to double check your numbers, use the deal machine until I give you guys a thumbs up that they have corrected whatever is going on with this Deal Sniper backend.
If I could say one thing, I haven't come across one yet, and I've put almost everything through Deal Machine, and the numbers that came in on Deal Sniper was not lower than the 10% anyway. So, just don't waste a lot of time going in and underwriting deals. Just get a interested realtor to respond back to you, and then go back and underwrite the whole deal, because you can waste a whole lot of time. So
100%, I agree with you. This mode or this way of wholesaling is 100% a numbers game. 100%. And the more offers you send out, the more positive responses you're going to get. Now, the other side of that is also true. Just the nature of our very program, send out 100 a week, get 4 or 5 positive responses, you're going to close 2 or 3 deals. That means that every week, 95 people are going to tell you no. But when you start talking to the people that are interested, they're going to want to negotiate with you anyway. But Deal Sniper, I know for a fact, will never give you a non-equitable deal, meaning it will never generate a deal that we couldn't sell to an investor. So only underwrite the deals for the ones that respond positively. That's where you want to focus your time. And here's why you want to do that, which leads me to the next part. Jason, thank you for that. So here's why I tell you guys to only underwrite the ones that respond positively, because you need to know when you're on the phone with these realtors what your max is, because they're going to want to negotiate. A realtor's job is to get their client the best deal, right? Your job is to get the investor the best deal. So that's why we have our minimums and our maximums. So do realtors. So in this situation, at $600 a month with $13,000 down or $13,000 cash to the seller, we have a 21.19 cash on cash return. That's phenomenal. But what if the realtor says, hey, we like your deal, but we want more money monthly? What are you going to say if you don't know? Oh, hold on. Let me ask Sean. No, you don't do that. Just double check your numbers. Just keep going. So what you want to do, go to the payment and just start going up in numbers. So let's double it. Let's say it's 1,200. So our cash on cash return dropped to negative 5%. So obviously that's too much. What about 800? 12%. Okay, that's better. What about 850? There we go. So the most that you could give the seller monthly payment is 850. Me personally, I like knowing that information before the phone call. Hell, a lot of times I'll have this calculator up when I'm on the phone with them. So if the realtor says, hey, we like your deal, but can we get more monthly? Anytime you get a question like that, for one, respond with a question. I mean, it's possible. How much were they looking for? And then wait for them to answer. Oh, we were looking for $1,000 a month. Hey, you know what? I completely get it, but I ran my numbers. And in all honesty, in order for this deal to be equitable to my buyer, they have to be able to cash flow. And the most that we can do monthly is about 800. So can we meet in the middle at 700? And then you see what they say, because you already know that 850 is your max. So by default, 700 works. That's 16%. Here's another thing. So let's go back to the 600, right? Let's say they come back and they say, hey, we like your deal, but can we get a little bit more than $13,000 down? I mean, it's possible. How much more were you looking for? And you let them answer. Now, the most you can ever give someone is 10% of the purchase price. So the most this person could ever get, I'm going to be generous, is 20 grand. So you change this to $20,000. And then you change this as well. So it's going to be what, 177? So then we go back to the seller financing tab and we check. So at the 600, we're still, now you see it dropped. It was at 21.1. We didn't change the payment. So now we're at 16.85. So now you know, and then here, go to your, now you can figure out your max all over again if you want to. So it was 850. Let's try 750. Okay. 800. Nope, too much. 775. There you go. That's probably a little bit more. It's probably 785. There you go. So now, hey, Mr. Wholesaler, my client likes your deal, but can we get a little bit more down? Well, how much were you thinking? We were thinking like $20,000 down. Okay, I'll tell you what, because you already know the deal works. So anything you say after that is, I don't want to say an act because it has a negative connotation to it, but you definitely don't want to just be like, oh, okay. You don't want to do that because it's like, then the realtor's like, damn, I should ask for more money. So you want to pause, use your pauses as a weapon. Hopefully you guys have watched the deep dive into how to talk to people over the phone. You use your pause as a weapon. Hey, my seller was hoping they can get $20,000 down. Now you don't have to do a whole lot of selling because it's a realtor. They know the game. It's not like it's the seller, but you can pause for a solid 2 or 3 seconds. And then you say something along the lines of, I'll tell you what, if I do $20,000 down, $600 a month, if we can get this signed today, we can do that. I think that's something my buyers will take. So it's quid pro quo. Okay, you want the 20,000, then I want this contract signed today. Because you already know what your numbers are. You can go up to 785. Now, if they say, hey, we want $20,000 down and $1,000 a month, no. No, we can either give you more on the down payment or more on the monthly. And here's why. Oh, here's another question that you guys get, which ties into here's why. Let's go back to Deal Sniper. They were asking $178,000 and it's been on market for 90 days. We're offering you $20,000 more on your purchase price. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That's basically it. So a lot of times they'll ask, hey, what's the interest on this one? There's no interest. This is 0% interest. That's why we're giving you an extra $20,000 on the purchase price. We're building it into the purchase price. Because here's why, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor. If my buyers can't cash flow the deal, they have zero incentive to buy it. They're not going to buy it to live in it. This is an investment property. They're going to put tenants in it and they're going to collect rent. They're going to put it in their portfolio. If they can't cash flow the deal, they have no incentive to buy it. They're just going to buy the next property I bring them. So yeah, these are the numbers that we have to be at. And I don't think it's a bad idea to tell your realtor what your max is. Tell them. I'm very much one of those just be upfront and honest. So tell them, hey, look, you know what? The most I can give you is about $20,000 down and $700 a month. If your seller can make that work, I'm ready to go. If they can't, hey, you know what? My offer's good for 30 days. Let me know if they change their mind. And then move on to the next. There's 1.5 million properties listed in the United States right now that you can put offers on. There's what? 110 people that know about that are using Deal Sniper right now. You'll never run out of leads. So you don't have to make every lead fit. Not every. I know this sounds crazy. In any other circumstance, every lead is gold. In this circumstance, not so much. Because if they say no, there's someone else that's going to, there's 100 other, thousands of other people that'll say yes. Because there's that many properties listed. So mathematically, there's going to be a ton of people that will absolutely take this deal or a deal like it. Does anyone have any questions on what I just went over? Because I know that was a lot. I am long-winded as hell. Okay.
I have a question.
What's up?
So on something like this, like on a deal like this, I know you said that you just want to like get them out. So you wouldn't double check this one with Deal Machine. This is just one you send out, and then when they like send you an email back, that's when you underwrite.
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's what we should do with every single one.
Absolutely. Because
Okay.
I know for a fact, granted, I'm going to say it again, that, you know, this thing here, I don't like this section of it, but this will always give you a sellable deal. always. If it tells you that you can go up to whatever, hold on, let me see if it'll change it back to what it was. Yeah, this says you can go up to $197,890, then absolutely $197,000 will work. Now, one thing you guys will notice that every time I always round, I don't know if they still teach this in school. I'm old, but when they were teaching us how to do rounding, if it was more than half, you round up. If it's less than half, you round down. So 618,000 is less than halfway to 700. That's why I rounded down. So you can't ever go wrong if you take this monthly payment that we're giving to the seller and go less. Now, if you see it at $690, then yeah, you can go to 700. An extra $10 isn't going to do anything. It'll still be a sellable deal. What you don't want to do is this thing generates a $600 payment and you change it to 900. I wouldn't do that. So you're always safe if you round down. If it says $485, you're safe if you round down to 400. You're safe if you round up to 500. I wouldn't go too much higher than that, especially if you don't know what the cash on cash return is, to begin with. But the rule of thumb is that whatever it says the rent is, the most you can give is 50% of that. So if you want to just take a quick glance at it without having to go through this and underwrite the whole deal, as long as you're doing half of that or half of whatever it says the rent is, you're probably good. That'll probably bring you right to that 10%. So when it gives you the monthly payment, just round down. Hell, even if it was $680, you can round down to 600. Let the real estate agent negotiate you up higher. Just gives you more wiggle room to negotiate. That's what I would do. Who else has a question? JK Gravit. I don't know what your name is, bro. What's up?
Yeah, it's James. Thank you.
What's up, James?
Whenever we're paying them the monthly payment of say $600, the buyer is taking care of the taxes and insurance himself, correct?
Yeah. So whatever investor you end up selling your deal to, they're going to make this monthly payment. They're going to pay the taxes. They're going to pay the insurance, and they'll even pay the HOA if there is one.
And then they'll give the seller the 600. Okay, I was arguing with an agent today, and she was saying, $500. If I knew an apartment that cheap, I would take it. And I'm like, but we're also covering the taxes and the insurance. I'm just not giving it to the seller at what you normally would. That would raise the price monthly.
Right. I mean, you're 100% right. And here's the thing. I personally wish that the relationship between real estate agents and wholesalers was better than what it is. And the reason why it's messed up, I don't want anyone who ever listens to this recording or who's listening to this training right now, unless you're a shitty wholesaler, it's not meant for you when they're mean to you or they're short with you. It means they've been burned by a shitty wholesaler. Now, granted, that's not your fault, but that's what they know. They know, and it's been spread around realtors. Most realtors don't like wholesalers, and that's because they come across bad wholesalers. And now granted, they don't know this, but I will never stand for that. If I ever find out that you guys are trying to pull one over on a real estate agent, lie to them or whatever, I'll make sure you never wholesale again. Not under your name. I know enough people to where I'm like, yeah, see this person? Don't ever do it. And they won't, because that's just making it harder for the rest of us. So if you are going to be a wholesaler, be honest, be upfront, and change their perception of what a wholesaler is by doing right by them. We should not be clashing, albeit I understand why we are. Because not all wholesalers do what they're supposed to do or do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And I appreciate that. She told me no at first, but after I explained to her, she went back to her client, and now they're deciding, and they'll let me know tomorrow.
See, there you go. And you got to always set the proper expectation. It's so much easier to wholesale when everyone knows you're a wholesaler. Here's why. I'll give you an example. Let's say you get the deal under contract, but you didn't tell them that you were a wholesaler. You told them that you were the end buyer. You're the investor that's going to take it down. But it's such a good deal, 4 of your 5 investors want to go take a look at it. So what are you going to say? Now you have to lie. Oh, I have my contractor is going to go take a look at the property. Okay, that's one. What's your excuse for the other three that want to go see the property? That's so much harder than just saying, hey, I'm a wholesaler. I've got 4 or 5 buyers that only deal with me. Now, hold on. That part might be a lie if you're new. That part might be a lie. And unfortunately, I know this sounds really contradictory to what I just said, but sometimes you do have to do that or piggyback off my story and claim it as your own. Because I do have about 4 or 5, 6 buyers in every single market that you guys are doing it in. So piggyback off my story. That'll be the only lie, I guess, that you tell. But if you tell a real estate agent, when they ask, are you a wholesaler? Absolutely, I am. And here's why. I've got, where's this property located? Belmar, what city? Indianapolis. Okay. So if I tell a realtor, if they see my offer and they ask, are you a wholesaler? Absolutely, I am. And I'll tell you what, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, I've got 7 buyers in Indianapolis that primarily buy from me. They send me out to find these properties for them. This property that you have listed that I gave you an offer on is one that at least 4 of them would be interested in. So all I'm asking you to do is let me put this under contract for 14 days. I have to protect my interest in the deal. I'm sure you can understand that. I want to put it under contract for 14 days, give my buyers time to take a look at the property, run their numbers. Whichever one of them wants to pull the trigger, as soon as I identify that one, we'll submit EMD and proof of funds right then and there. If you're talking to a reasonable real estate agent and the seller is, open to this type of offer, there's no reason they should say no to that. Because you know what they hear every day? Oh, I'm a local buyer and investor and I'm interested in this property. Oh, show me your proof of funds. Oh, and then they send them one that's fake. By the way, don't do that if you're doing that. As of January 1st, they will prosecute you for fraud if you send out a fake or not your proof of funds. Don't do that. If they ask for a proof of funds, that's a perfect way to interject that you're a wholesaler. Hey, can I get your proof of funds? Absolutely. I'll tell you what I do. I've got about 5 or 6 buyers in Indianapolis that exclusively buy from me. They send me to actually find these properties. I know for a fact that at least 4 of them would be interested in this one. So what I'm looking to do is put you under contract for 14 days, give them time to do their due diligence. Once I identify which one of them wants to pull the trigger, I'll submit their proof of funds and we'll put EMD down within 48 hours. No realtor is going to say no to that if they're willing to entertain a seller financing deal. Because you're speaking to them honestly. That's an honest answer. Especially if you hire my disposition team. Because we for damn sure have buyers in Indianapolis or anywhere else that you guys are marketing. If it's a good market. Got to be 500,000 people or more. So be honest. It stops the lying and it changes their perception. Think about this. You work with a realtor. What was this guy's name? Richard Gard or something like that? Hold on. Robert. So you go to Robert Gard and you say you closed this deal with him. You told him you're a wholesaler. You told him what was going to happen. You performed. What do you think he's going to do when he's got another property that's on market? He's going to call you. Hey, Sean, I got this other one that, I'm having trouble moving. You think any of your buyers would take this one? Hold on a second, Robert. Let me check. Yeah, here's the terms that we would need it under. If your seller is willing to go for this, then yeah, we can move this one too. That's how you build a positive relationship with realtors. And it definitely doesn't start with a lie by saying that you're the end buyer or you're the investor. So don't do that. Just be honest, be upfront. And if you come across a real estate agent that doesn't like wholesalers, tells you to F off or whatever, post it in the chat, laugh about it, and move on to the next because there's 1.5 million other properties that are listed that you can put an offer on. And they're not all going to tell you to F off. Any questions over anything I just went over? Because I know that was a lot. Awesome. Sean, you're the greatest teacher in the fucking world. Okay, so now I want to do open forum. I understand it's a Monday, and we've already been on here for 45 minutes. I'm willing to be on here as long as you guys need me to be. So who has any questions about anything wholesale related that I can answer for you? Yeah, just cut me off, dude. You don't have to raise your hand.
Well, I kind of I got one. You kind of mentioned it earlier. So I was curious about the HOAs, like if it matters if there's an HOA on it.
It doesn't matter if there's an HOA. What matters is two things. Like for an area in Florida, somewhere that's good for like an Airbnb. Typically, those HOA fees are so high that it almost kills seller financing deals because you're paying, $3,000-4,000 a month, or I'm sorry, a year in HOA fees. It kills the cash on cash return. Here's the other thing with an HOA that you need to be aware of. If they allow rentals, do they allow tenants, or do some HOAs only want the owners of the property to live there? If that's the case, an investor's not going to buy it because they can't rent it out. Here's another thing you should check. Check to see if they allow short-term rentals. If they do, great. If they don't, as long as the deal works as a long-term rental, you're good. But if your numbers are better as a short-term rental, you better hope your numbers are real good as a long-term rental, because you can't do a short-term rental there if the HOA doesn't allow it. But there's nothing wrong with HOAs. Me personally, because I've lived in an HOA, I hate them with a passion. But I'm a fire sign. Don't tell me what to do. Like, dear God, don't tell me what to do. Like, I'll crush your world. So that's why I don't like HOAs. But for wholesaling, HOAs is fine. Just make sure the fees aren't killing the deal and make sure they allow tenants.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Janer, you had a question?
Yeah, I did. So that part that you were talking about, like letting them know that we're a wholesaler. So after we send that initial email, when they send like an email back to us, that's when we say we're a wholesaler, or do we just edit what Deal Sniper tells us to say to them?
No. Don't edit beyond cleaning up your numbers. Don't edit anything that Deal Sniper tells you. If they respond back positively, then chances are they're going to ask you for a proof of funds. And that's when I would interject it.
Yeah,
You guys
sorry, go ahead.
No problem. You guys should get real good. And I'm gonna post this video. You guys practice it, record yourself saying it. It's not so it's the words. Obviously, it's the words, but it's also how you deliver it. So you need to get real good at saying, "Oh, you want proof of funds? No problem, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor. I'll tell you what. I've got about 5 or 6 buyers that exclusively work with me in Indianapolis. They hire me to go find these deals for them. I know for a fact that 4 of them would be interested in this deal under the terms that I just sent you. So if we can lock this thing up under contract for 14 days, I'll pitch it to them. Whichever one of them wants to pull the trigger, 48 hours after I identify them, I'll submit EMD and proof of funds. No problem." You see how there was no hesitation, no shakiness in my voice? Now here's why. Sorry, Mom. I don't give a fuck if they say no. Leo's on my team. He's been hearing this for years. Leo, throw me a thumbs up. Do I give a damn if I close a deal? I don't care what they say. And that comes through in my tone. If you don't like my deal, bye, Felicia. I'll pitch it to your neighbor. I'll pitch it to someone I'll pitch my deal to someone in your office, and I'll get them the commission if you don't want to take. I know that sounds aggressive, and it's been a long day and I still don't feel good, but it's the same thing applies. Get good at saying things with confidence, because that will get you through look at DJ. Same thing with DJ. Now, DJ, who got his subject too close today, it was one of those things where he was a little unsure what to say. So I told him, I literally typed it out for him and told him exactly what to say. He sent it. Boom, signed contract. Because my message, we're going to do this, this, and this. If you don't want to do it, good luck. I'm out. I'm like, no, it's okay. We'll do it. My favorite move, Leo, give me a thumbs up if I'm right, is the takeaway. I will take away a deal in a second. I'm lazy. I don't want to be on the phone with you anyway. I don't want to be on the phone with a seller. I don't want to be on the phone with a realtor. I want to sit and play my VR and stab people and blade and sorcery. That's what I want to do all day. So if I'm on the phone with someone and they start saying stuff that I don't like, I'm just, you know what? I'm interested in the deal. My offer is good for 30 days, but this is kind of how we do it. So if your seller changes their mind, let me know. If not, No worries. Good luck to you. And I'm out. I'm off the call. To the point where like, whoa, they're like, wait. I didn't say that they didn't want to take it. I was just asking if they start asking stupid questions, redundant questions. No. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. Look, never mind. I can see that there's going to be a problem. Never mind, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor. My offer is good for 30 days. Just shoot me a text and let me know. No. Just wait. We were just asking whatever. It's all BS anyway. Doesn't matter. They're giving me a hard time because I'm a realtor or because I'm a wholesaler. I don't care. Give me a hard time all you want. I'll give it right back. So it's get in the habit of saying these things and to where you're saying it without the ums and the whatever. You're saying it. It's to the point. It's very concise. It's very confident. Done. You'd be surprised. That's why everyone always asks me, how do I get the realtor's email address if it's not listed? Call them. Start establishing your relationship right then and there. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, I'm getting ready to send you an offer on your property in Indianapolis. What's your email address? I'd like to get this sent to you by the end of the day. And then just wait. What's up, dude? You got a question?
Yeah, so my question, I just hopped into the training like 10 minutes ago, so I apologize if it's off topic, but it's regarding Deal Sniper. If I send out a deal, obviously it's going to be creative finance. Do you think I should include in that email that I copied and pasted, add something to it that asks about the context of the property, if they have any type of like mortgage on there or anything like that, or is it just send the offer out and then just try to call to follow up?
You know what? I would just send the offer out because, and I did touch on this earlier, but maybe not that much. And I'm pretty sure someone's going to have that same question again. So no big deal. If the realtor has an idea that this offer could work, it's too bad they have a mortgage, they will absolutely tell you. They will tell you if there is a mortgage. It's not going to be a situation where they say, oh, this property has a mortgage, F off, don't ever call me again. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be something, and you guys can see it in the main chat. People post all the time. Oh, yeah, unfortunately, this offer is not going to work. The owner already has a mortgage on the property. So the realtor will tell you if your deal is an option and the realtor responds to you and says, hey, sorry, they have a mortgage or anything to that effect, then your response should always be the same. Oh, no problem. I'll tell you what, if you can send me always use approximate. I don't know why psychologically that's better for people. It makes you come off less pushy. Yeah, just send me about what it is. I don't really care. It's like that. So you ask them, hey, yeah, no problem. If you can send me the approximate mortgage balance, interest rate, and monthly payment, I'll rewrite an offer in 15 minutes covering that mortgage. Done. Done and done. That's all you have to say. And they'll get it. That's what DJ did today. He literally said, hey, I need the mortgage. They sent him a screenshot of their mortgage statement. Done. Because they wanted the deal. They absolutely wanted the deal. And they were looking to see, hey, we have a mortgage. Can you give us more to cover it? Yeah. Send me the mortgage balance, the interest rate, and the monthly payment. I'll send you a new offer in like 15 minutes that'll cover that mortgage. And then you just write a subject to offer. If you need help writing a subject to offer, DM it to me and we'll write it together. I do it for everybody anyway. So yeah, that's what I would do, dude. I mean, you can ask, but I would just send the offer as it is after you clean up your numbers.
Got it.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Well, look at that. We finished in less than an hour. That's what's up. So I will, yeah, I know, right? Because usually they go like 2 or 3 hours. I think last week's training went like 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes, something like that. Anyway, if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Full disclosure, I'm sure you guys can tell in my voice, I still don't feel that great, but I will always answer your questions, but I'm probably going to check out a little bit early tonight. So let's say I'll answer questions for another hour or so. And then anything you guys want to DM me after that, I'll just answer you first thing in the morning. Also, for you new people, I am doing admin on Tuesdays. That means from 10 o'clock in the morning Central Time to 2 p.m. Central Time, I will not be available at all. That's when I'm doing stuff for my team, reports for clients, things like that. So I won't be available. You guys can still message me your questions. I'll just answer you after 2 o'clock. So keep that in mind. Will this training be on YouTube later? Yeah, absolutely. So it takes about an hour for Google to render this, and then I'll upload the training to YouTube, and I'll put a link in the main chat. Bert, what Discord are you in? Are you in ERW or are you in Deal Sniper? Deal Sniper. Okay, got it. Yeah, I'll post it in there and then I'll tag you so you can see it.
If
And that
you're
should probably be up tonight. What's up?
yeah, sorry to bother you. If you're on ERW, could you be on the Deal Sniper chat as well?
You can. So how did you get to ERW?
No accent callers.
Okay, so that means you're getting ERW for free.
Yeah.
You can absolutely get into Deal Sniper. You just have to pay for it. You won't get it for free through NAC.
Gotcha.
So if you want, I can send you a link. ERW is Elite Real Estate Wholesalers. It's the other Discord community that I have, more geared towards people who have cold callers or VAs making calls for them. So it kind of specializes in creative financing is obviously an aspect of it, but novation deals, cash deals, wraps, land contracts, things like that. And that's because primarily when you're getting leads through a VA, those are off-market deals. So it's a not completely, but a very different strategy than Deal Sniper. Deal Sniper is made for on-market deals. ERW and VAs, those are usually off-market. So the strategy is a little different. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. I come from land buying off-market. You got any land buyers that we can connect with? Because I've got like 9, 10 land deals under contract, and land's not my team's thing. I don't know if any of them are in Dallas, but you know what I'll do? I'll find out and I'll hit you up in the morning. And if they are, I'll have no problem working with you and giving you a cut.
Sean, I have one last question before I let you go. I promise.
No, it's all good. What's up?
So when we're on Deal Machine, because now this is making a lot of sense for me and Teddy, because we were just like over analyzing way too much. So for the Deal Machine, like when we're looking at like the long-term rental, you see how next to purchase price and seller finance amount, there's like the 3 blue boxes. What do we put in those? Because I know you said something about percentages. So we would just use what you used to, the 2, 5, and 3.
Yeah, you can do that. And if you notice, they're in the little chart. Anything that you would need to fill out that you're like, how the hell am I supposed to know what that is, will always be here. So if you notice, it's right here. So vacancy is 3 to 8%. Repairs and maintenance is 5 to 10. CapEx, looks like I reversed these two. Well, it doesn't really matter because it all comes down to 10%. But yeah, so this is what most investors, this is what's called a war chest. And all this means is how much money they set aside every year, every month, every quarter, depending on how they operate their business for these things. So they'll set aside 3% of their yearly income for vacancy. So when their house is vacant, if there's a mortgage, they're not paying for the mortgage, the utilities, the insurance, the taxes completely out of their pocket. They've already set aside some money for this property. They've already set aside $870 for repairs and maintenance. And then CapEx reserves, for anyone that doesn't know, that's when the big stuff breaks. That's when a house needs a roof, a furnace, foundation, a water heater, expensive stuff. That's what that's for. So yeah, you can always just copy these numbers. As long as this totals 10%, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm looking at one right now that like it says cash on cash return is 8.7%. So that for a long-term rental. So for example, even though that's profitable, that one wouldn't work, correct?
Yeah, you're gonna have a hard time selling that to people. And here's a little bonus tip as to why. Now, I'm not a banker or financial advisor, so if I'm off a little bit, I'm doing this all from memory from like 3-4 years ago. But if you wanted to right now go to a bank and put your money in like a T-bill, which is like the easiest thing to invest in, your return on that is going to be about 7%, 8%. So what we want to do is we want to have a deal that's more enticing to an investor than just, hey, instead of giving me your money for this property, just go stick it in this T-bill. You'll make about the same. That's why we have our threshold at 10%, because it's more enticing to an investor to have 10% or higher rather than just they can take the same $30,000 and just go put it in a T-bill and not have to worry about tenants, not have to worry about taxes, insurance, repairs, maintenance, vacancies. They don't have to worry about that. So if they are going to worry about that, they're going to want a higher cash on cash return than something they can just get from going to the bank and giving them 30 grand. That's why our threshold is 10%. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So I know you were talking about how it needs to be profitable and stuff. So for this one, for example, can I give you the number so you can kind of see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was 351 purchase price. Seller finance amount is 327. Sorry, 327. Yeah, 030. The cash to seller was 24,000, and then obviously desired was 10. The LTR was 1344, I believe. Yeah, 1344.
Okay.
So you
What do
see
you
how
have for the taxes?
taxes is $3,470.
Insurance?
I'm sorry, no, rent was $2,200 and insurance was the 1344.
Oh, okay. So insurance was 1344. What's the taxes?
Taxes is the 3,470.
Okay, and you said the rent was 2200, the LTR?
Yeah.
Okay. That's better because I was kind of nervous there for a second.
Yeah, I flipped it on accident.
Okay. And then what is the monthly payment you're giving to the seller?
$900.
Okay. So you got a 19% cash on cash return. It's great.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. It's because I flipped the numbers on accident, but now I'm realizing. So whenever it's going to be profitable always. So, and then we just double check if they obviously want to negotiate. All right, yeah, that makes sense.
And I wouldn't use the term double check. Like I said, Deal Sniper will always give you an equitable deal. You're not double checking when they respond positively. What you're checking is what your max is. So for this one, if you sent this offer out and let's say they respond positively, now I want to know, okay, well, what's the most I can give them? So if that's the case, I'm just going to start creeping these numbers up until I get to 10%. So I know that 1250 is too much. What about 1220? Oops, 1225. There you go. So now I know when I get on the phone, if they ask for more money monthly, I know that the most I can give them is 1225. So if they say, hey, we're looking for like $1,000 a month. Okay, well, you could say, yeah, that works. Because you already know it works. And it's the exact same thing with the down payment. You have it at 24,000. Technically, you can give them 30,000, 35,000 actually. So if you change this to 35,000 and then change this to, what would that be? Oh crap, I almost knocked my whole can over. God, that would have sucked. So if we do 351,000 minus 35,000, 316,000. So now we go back to seller finance. Let's change this back to the 900 that it was. Now your cash on cash return is 15% instead of 19. But now you know, hey, now what if they say, hey, we want $35,000 and $1,000 a month? It works. You know your numbers. That's why. So you're not double checking Deal Sniper. You're just checking to see for when the negotiating comes because it's going to. It's always going. Most of the time, it's going to. You already know what your numbers are, so you sound more professional, more prepared.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm sorry, the thing that we check is like the rent, because sometimes like it's like off. Like one time, like yesterday, we got like it said LTR of like 4,000, but then when we checked the median, it was like 2,000. So it was like way off.
Was it a duplex? Because sometimes Deal Sniper doesn't identify duplexes very well,
I think
so it
I
won't
think
double the rent.
I think it was one of the single families that it was like a 6-2, and then they just converted it into a multifamily. So that I think that's why it was off.
Yeah, so that's why I did that. So it took the rent from. So wait a minute. You said Deal Sniper said 4,000, but the actual rent was 2,000.
Yeah. So what we were checking, sorry, no, it was that like that the rent was if it was a 6.2, I forget what deal it was, but it was a 6.2, and that the rent for the 6.2 was total $2,000, when in reality it's really bringing in 4,000. That's what we were
Right.
confused about, because it made the numbers way off, because we were like, there's no way for a 6.2 you're only getting $2,000 a month.
Yeah, so it sounds like Deal Sniper was not counting the fact that it was a multifamily, because on Zillow or whatever it pulled the information from, classified it as a single family instead of a multifamily. So where it should have doubled the rent, it didn't. That's all. That happens. Yeah. If it's a duplex or a multifamily, you can double check the rent before you send out the offer. But if it's just a single family, you're good. Deal Sniper's good.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. Oh, and here's the other thing. If it's a duplex, you can probably just double the rent that Deal Sniper gives you.
Yeah, that's what we did. It makes it a lot easier when, like, on Redfin, they list it as, oh, we have a 3.1, 3.1, and 2.1, and these are the rents, just because it's so accurate, because that's what it's going for.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what we've been doing. I think we were just over analyzing, but this just like cleared it up. Like, this makes so much sense.
Good. I'm glad it helped. Anybody else have any other questions? No big deal. I'm prepared to stay on here as long as you guys need me. All right, cool. Well, that's it for tonight. Like I said, if you guys want to shoot me any other questions that you think of or whatever on the Discord, I'll be answering them for another hour, hour and a half, and then I'll answer the rest tomorrow morning. Once it hits tomorrow at 10 a.m., I won't be available until 2. No problem, dude. Appreciate you. You guys have a great night.
You too.